Walt Whitman, a renowned American poet, an essayist and journalist, traveled by train on a first-class sleeper to visit Canada during the month of June 1880. He wrote about Sarnia, sunset on the St. Clair. I am writing this on Front Street, close by the River St. Clair. The setting sun, a great blood-red ball, is just descending on the Michigan shore, throwing a bright crimson track across the water to where I stand. The river is full of rowboats and shells, a handsome, inspiring sight. Up north, I see Point Edward. Opposite, a little south, on the Michigan shore, stretches Port Huron. It is a still, moist, voluptuous evening, the twilight deepening apace, and the vapors fly bats and myriads of big insects. A solitary robin whistles his call, followed by mellow clucks in some trees nearby. The panting of the locomotive and measured roll of cars comes from overshore, and occasionally an abrupt snort or screech diffused in space. With all these utilitarian episodes, it is a lovely, soft, voluptuous scene, a wondrous half-hour for sunset, and then the long, rose-tinged half-light with a touch of gray we sometimes have stretched out in June at day close. How musical the cries and voices floating in from the river. Point Edward on the Canada side, and Fort Gratiot on the Michigan, the crossing line for the Grand Trunk Railway, and looking well alive with lights and the sight of shadowy moving cars, were quickly passed between by our steamer. After pressing through currents of rapids for a mile along here, very dashy and inspiriting, this pleasant water ride which lasted till midnight. During the day I'd seen the magnificent steamboat, City of Cleveland, come from above, and after making a short stop at Port Huron opposite, speed on her swift and stately way down the St. Clair. At a Sarnia wharf I saw the Asia, a large steamboat for Lake Superior trade and passengers. Went down to an Indian settlement at Amajawanong to visit the Indians, the Chippewas. There's a long stretch, 3 or 4 miles fronting the St. Clair, south of Sarnia, running back easterly nearly the same distance. Good lands for farming and rare sites for building. This is the reservation set apart for these chips. There are said to be 400 of them, but I could not see evidence of 1/4 that number. There are 3 or 4 neat third-class wooden dwellings, a church and council house, but the less said about the rest of the edifices, the better. The young men generally go off to hire as laborers and deckhands on the water. I saw and conversed with Wawanosh, the interpreter, son of a former chief. He talks and writes as well as I do. In a nice cottage nearby lived his mother, who doesn't speak anything but Chippewa. This beautiful and ample tract, in its present undeveloped condition, is quite an eyesore to the Sarnians. Walt Whitman's Leaves of Grass, an epic poem, contained the following, perhaps referring in part to the Sarnia-Lambton area. See steamers steaming through my poems. See in my poems immigrants continually coming and landing. See in arriere the wigwam, the trail, the hunter's hut, the flatboat, the maize leaf, the claim, the rude fence, and the backwoods village. See on the one side the western sea, and on the other the eastern sea. How they advance and retreat upon my poems as upon their shores. See pastures and forests in my poems. See animals wild and tame. See beyond the Kaw countless herds of buffalo feeding on short curly grass. See in my poems solid vast inland with paved streets, with iron and stone edifices, ceaseless vehicles and commerce. See the many-cylindered steam printing press. See the electric telegraph stretching across the continent. See the strong and quick locomotive as it departs, panting, blowing the steam whistle. See plowmen plowing farms. See miners digging mines. See the numberless factories. See mechanics busy at their benches with tools. See from among them superior judges, philosophers, presidents emerge dressed to working dresses. See lounging through the shops and fields of the stars, me, well beloved, close held by day and night. Hear the loud echoes of my songs there. Read the hints come at last.